Welcome to the Nutty Nitty Sisters podcast, a podcast about knitting, spinning, and fiber-related creations. We're your hosts,
Julie
and Judith.
You can find us on social media as Nutty Nitty Sisters on Instagram, at Nutty Nitty Sisters on YouTube, and you can email us at nuttynittysisters@gmail.com.
If you're watching for the first time, welcome, and thanks for joining us.
If you're a returning viewer, welcome back, and thanks for returning. We'd appreciate it if you'd click the subscribe button below so you don't miss any broadcasts.
Click that bell, you'll be notified as soon as new videos are loaded.
Now, grab your knitting, find a comfy spot,
And let's get a little nutty. Hello! Welcome back! This is 3 2-week spans in a row that we've actually gotten on to record. I'm excited.
Yes.
I am Judith.
And I'm Jules.
We're the Nutty Nitty Sisters, and welcome. And we hope you enjoy the show. Yeah, that's it. I never know how to begin these things, so let's just jump right into our first segment. So, life in general. Jules, what is up in your life in general?
Oh, well, the seasons are starting to change.
They are.
And we do the clocks this weekend, which means
Yes.
spring is really coming.
Yes. First day of spring is the 19th.
Yes.
So we're getting there.
Thank goodness. Oh, my word. I don't know. As I get older, every winter drags even more.
Yes. And it has actually started to warm up a little bit. We've had a few kind of chilly days, but there was a day last week that I actually sat with my window open here in the office on my lunch break, and it was lovely.
Yes. It's like 45-ish for the high today, which is fine for this time of year.
Yeah.
If it would just continue to stay there and not do like it did yesterday with sleet and snow.
Yep. I just got a notification on my Alexa that there's a high wind warning coming our way.
Again, this has been the windiest winter.
Yes.
Crazy.
As evident by the big pine tree still sitting on the ground in my front yard.
Yeah, and mine that still needs to be cut down because it got so damaged by wind.
But honestly, like where mine fell, I wouldn't want anybody to go out there and try to take care of it because it's so wet and they'd sink out of sight.
Yeah.
You need a boat.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Anything else going on in your world?
Not really. That's about it. Other than work.
Work and spring. Well, we have had a sort of eventful couple of weeks. Michael took up sick again. Not last weekend, but the weekend before. He came home from work just dog tired, and he had the whole snuffleupagus thing, going on, and he went to bed. He was in bed all weekend. He did not go to work on Monday. He started coughing and wheezing, and so Monday I ended up leaving work early in the morning and taking him to Convenient MD, walk-in care, and he had pneumonia.
Yep.
And I guess it's kind of common in, I hate to say it, but in older patients. He is an older patient.
Yeah, I'm right there with him.
57 years old. I guess it's common with pneumonia because your immune system is suppressed to have a rash.
Oh.
So on his legs and his arms, he was so itchy and so uncomfortable. He could barely sleep.
Wow.
So not only can he not breathe, but he also can't sleep. And he was just absolutely miserable.
Oh,
he is finally just today starting to feel like himself. And yeah. So good to have his biting wit and sense of humor back. But he was a very, very, very sick man. I
Yep.
felt so bad. Other than that, I had my car serviced, and I was told that, how did he put it? I had a couple of things that needed to be done, just like kind of pricey, maintenance-y things to do with the hybrid batteries and stuff. But we got that done, and he said, everything else looks great. You take really good care of your car. He says, we don't usually see this in 16-year-old vehicles.
Mhm.
And I do. They take it up there every time it's due for maintenance, and it pays. I haven't
Yeah.
had a car payment in 11 years.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and that's about it. We have wrestling coming up this weekend, which we'll talk about in a couple segments. But it's a home meet for the grandkids, and we are so looking forward to that on Sunday.
Cool.
And that's about it for me for life in general. So we'll move on to events. What have we got going on do we have anything going on, Julie?
We will have something going on next.
Yes, we will.
We might as well let that cat out of the bag.
Yes, let's. I've got a little graphic for us.
Nice. Yeah. So I can't remember. This is the second crank-in, they said. I don't remember what happened last year. Something, I don't remember if it was bad weather or something. I think they ended up canceling, because last year would have been the second year. We didn't go last year. We went the year before, and that was year one. So I cannot remember what happened last year, but I think it got canceled. Anyway, so this year we'll go back down to Bridgeton, back down to our Jim and Amy.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I have only like 2 bars of Amy soap left, and I need some more Amy soap in my
Ooh,
life.
there you go. Yep. They are such great people.
Yeah.
I am really looking forward to going down, and we decided we're going for all 3 days. We took Friday off of work, and we got us an Airbnb, and we're going the whole stinking weekend.
3 days. 3 days away from the homestead.
Yep.
Doing the yarny things.
Yep.
I am so looking forward.
Absolutely.
It's been a long winter.
Yeah. Yep.
I also have some things happening in May. Camping starts.
Yeah.
Some of the RV campgrounds in the area start opening up again. So we have already booked our favorite spot in Greenville for Memorial Day weekend. It'll be the inaugural camping expedition of 2024.
Camping kickoff.
Camping kickoff, yes. Just Mike and I, and we're going up for 3 nights. And yeah, it's just gonna be nice. It's in Greenville, Maine, near Moosehead Lake, and it's very limited cell service, very limited fly-by Wi-Fi, litty whiffy. Yeah, so it's just off the grid.
Yep.
And I love it.
That is a great thing to do once in a while.
Yep. So I'll definitely be taking the spinning wheel and the knitting and all the things and getting some things done. Camping is a great opportunity for me to
catch up
on some stuff. Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that, I don't think we have anything else planned for events. Do you have anything eventful going on, Julie? How many cows are you on now?
Well, they're not real. Well, one of them is the, let's see if I can do this. Oh, now my mouse doesn't want to play nice. Okay. So I'm still doing the Knits and Pieces make along, the hashtag there. This is for, with Kelly and Noelle from Knits and Pieces. They have the Knit Chat Cafe on Tuesday nights every week. so we'll talk more about what I'm doing for that, but it's a make along for making a vest. They decided that it was time to make a vest and give sleeves a rest. So, and I've been wanting another vest, and I've been wanting one, just a very basic one. I love my tessellated vest, but I wanted something very basic that could go with really anything. So I decided to join that one. I also have been working from my stash as much as possible, and the Crazy Sock Lady is having a make along in her membership Facebook group. So whenever I can use something out of stash, I'm using the hashtag there to post that and participate in that make along. Stash reduction.
Yes.
And as if I have any business in the world, I am ridiculous. I could not resist the 24 Birds Make a Mystery Knit Along by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. You just need to go to Ravelry, and you need to go to her Instagram feed and look at this, because it is inspired by William Morris prints. It is totally right up my alley as far as colors and aesthetic and all that. Volenvine, look her up on Instagram. She's in collaboration with Helen Stewart. She has kits. Oh my gosh, they are drool worthy.
Yeah.
I love to do one of her kits, but the objective this year is to try to shop my own yarn store before I go buying as much as possible. And so I did on my Instagram, jules.makes on Instagram, in my feed, you can see a post I did. I ended up, I think it was 11. I went into my stash and ended up with 11 different combinations that I liked from the two William Morris pictures, inspiration pictures that I liked the most. I did end up finally settling on one, but boy, I didn't make it easy on myself. They were all really nice.
Yeah, they were beautiful.
Yeah. So I am excited about that. I love her patterns. Her patterns just make sense to me. They go and flow in a way that my brain seems to think like. So
she's so thorough.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely, when it comes to patterns, I don't want to have to look something up or think something through. I don't care if it's a 20-page pattern. I want it all. I want all the information right there. Yeah. I'll ignore or pass over what I don't need to know, but I would rather have all the information and use what I want to use than not have a piece of information when I need it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be happening. I think that starts the 21st of March. You can go on Ravelry now and get the preliminary piece that will give you ideas about a little bit more teaser information about it. It is a mystery shawl, but she will help you with some guidance as far as suggested color choices. She's got inspirational pictures. Of course, as I said, Volenvine has kits if you want to just go the really easy and beautiful route.
Her color intuition is fabulous. Oh my goodness.
And she is more of the like moody and muted.
Yes.
And I love those. I love them. I mean, I have pulled and grabbed some beautiful bright colors at times, but if I had to say my go-to color way choice, it would be those muted and moody colors.
Yep.
Yeah. So
great collaboration there for sure.
No more.
No more for you.
No more events for me for now.
I am trying so desperately. I mean, obviously I've been a Helen Stewart fan for years, and I love her patterns. I I'm so hyper focused on getting through the projects that I've already have in the wings. Like,
Yeah.
I have 2 whole baskets full of projects.
Yep.
I can't possibly well, I say that, but wait. Just wait.
I am trying to be a little bit more choosy. I mean, there's plenty of other things I would love to make right now, like the emotional support chicken. I
know.
Emotional support chicken.
I know.
But I know if I put it on my needles, since it's a smaller project, that will be what I will work on. And I have something I need to have done by the end of this month, and I have socks that my grandson would like to have. So
yep.
The chicken's not going on right now.
Yep. I've had a few things I've wanted to knit on for a while, and I just kept telling myself, you need to finish. Like, I already had so many projects on. I'm like, you just need to finish this one, and then you can cast a new one on. And that was kind of my motivation. Was I promised myself I could cast something new on if I finished the sweater and the socks and and then I need like a palette cleanser. So I've got palette cleanser projects, but when I finish something, my reward is I have new things.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me motivation to properly finish something for once. Yeah.
Yep, the struggle is real. FOMO.
Yeah, for sure. So is that it for events?
It is for me. That's enough.
Okay, let's move on to FOs. How many FOs do you have, Jules?
Uno. Just uno.
One?
Yes.
I have 4.
Oh.
Well, really 3. 1 is 2.
You go. You plop me in somewhere.
I'll go first. Okay. So my first is just my dishcloths. I've needed that. I've talked about that palette cleanser knitting that I need in between some of my bigger projects. And so I've been back to doing some dishcloths, and I'm trying to do like 1 a week, which is not hard to do. I can do 1 in an evening usually. I did get behind. I didn't do 1 the week that Michael was sick. So I finished this one. This is just, oops, buzz. This is just leftovers from my first 4 dishcloths I did in February. And I just did a 2-tone one to throw in my own drawer. So that was 1. And then my first one for March is, let me find, this is the place where the pattern for the plain old dishcloth. It is the website that was suggested by Kay from Crazy Sock Lady. And so that is where I get that pattern from. And then this is the first pattern for the month of March.
Cute.
It's a shamrock. And this is from Daisy and Storm. I found the maker or the pattern person that I used to get all my free dishcloth patterns from that had like the graphics on them like this, was Chris Knits. But the patterns are no longer available. They're out of publication. And so if you had purchased them, like she did have some collections that I purchased, those are still in my library, but anything that was her free patterns are gone from Ravelry and I can't find them. I'm sure there's some sort of Wayback Machine archive place that you can find them, but I don't know how to do that. So I found
just email her.
Yeah. The problem is, like, I've seen a lot of designers that no longer design, and so they just don't respond. And unfortunately, there's some designers that I used to follow that are no longer on the planet. So, you kind of run the risk of not. It's always a good idea, like reach out, but I found Daisy and Storm on Ravelry as an alternative, and they have tons of these kind of patterns. they're pretty much all the same. They have the seed stitch border and then the kind of the pearl stitch image in the middle, and they're all free.
Wow.
It takes you to her website, and you can view them there on the website free. But she offers a grid, a chart, and also all written out. You can go to her Etsy store and pay for a PDF download if you want the actual downloadable, but they're absolutely free. So, yeah, I think they're lovely. She's got so many great great patterns on her Ravelry store. So definitely recommend checking that out.
Cool.
The next one is a kind of small one, and then I'll let you go and do my big one. Well, these were meant to be small, but they turned out big. Look, that's my blocker, and that's my toe. They turned out way bigger than I thought. These are the 2022 Advent socks. This is made with the Advent kit from Robin from A Yarn to Die For Design. The theme was Believe in Magic. So it's all, I want to say Magic School Bus. Polar Express. Thank you. It's not Magic School Bus. Polar Express themed. And I do love them. As soon as they came off the needles, they went on my feet, which is why they're on blockers now, because they're wet. I had to wash them. But they're huge. They're very big. I did them toe up, and I've not done toe up in a while, so I had to go back to refer to my 2 at a time toe up book and figure out how to do the gusset and whatnot. But I discovered that the actual knit stitches are a little bigger. I think my gauge was off, and Julie and I talked about this. I used these needles. These are, what are they, Julie?
Zings. Yeah.
Yeah. And I did not enjoy them. I think you gave them to me a long time ago, and I thought, they're needles. They're fine. And the join here, the yarn catches very on one set in particular, it really was catchy. And my gauge, I think, was just off as well. So I will not be knitting with these again. I'll go back to the old Chow Goo.
Yep.
They're probably fine for someone else, but just the way that I knit, it didn't work for me. So Kayla is going to have a lovely pair of Advent socks. I was hoping to have them because it will match my wrap.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Could always take them out.
No. I'd rather gift them to somebody else than re-knit them.
Oh, I don't know. If I really, really love something, I'll, like my Inclinations cowl. I wanted it. I wanted to wear it. Had it done, ripped the whole thing and started. I'm so glad I did. I love that cowl now.
I know. I have my Inclinations cowl is partially picked apart in the closet, and I will reknit it again too, but not socks. No. Those will just become a gift. Especially when you have somebody who can wear them.
And will, networking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she'll love them. So what do you have for an FO, Jules?
I have just one little pair of socks, and they're a little bit baggy on these blockers, but anyway, those are my February yarnable socks.
They're so pretty.
They are. And these were cranked. I'm back at my CSM.
Yay!
So, what I did with the CSM is that this is the yarnable yarn, and I just put that yarn on a cone, and I cranked a big, old, long tube. Basically, I'll give it a little sneak peek, but this is a different yarn, but it goes on and on and on and on.
That'd be a lovely scarf.
Yeah, yes, it would actually. I got about 560 rounds basically out of a 100-gram skein of yarn. And I just did, once I had that tube, there is if you just go on YouTube and say, oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
If you just go on YouTube and say like socks from a sock tube or socks from a yarn tube, something like that. There's several videos videos out there about how to separate that. But basically you just end up with it is important to use a special marker to mark the top so that when your tube is connected, all your stitches are going the same way.
Yes.
But I ended up with 4 of these basically. So I just, when they're all together like this, I just go in with some waste yarn or go in with my needles and pick up, get this right. Go in with a tapestry needle and waste yarn, pick up my stitches for where my toe and my cuff will be, and then pick up on just one side for where I'm going to do my afterthought heel. And then I did these stitch markers because I do basically either 50 or 60, whatever I happen to feel like. Most of the time it's 50 rounds for leg and foot. And so then I can take this, I can knit my cuff on the top, I can put my afterthought heel in, and I can knit my toes. So 4 pairs of socks. And
nice.
Only takes 15 minutes maybe to
crank it.
Tube. Yep. That's a lot of time saving.
Yes.
Stitches.
Holy cow.
So I am really loving that. This was the first one I did getting back into it. And the gauge is a little bit looser than I would like. The socks are a little bit looser on me than typical, but they don't fall down. They stay up. They're just not hugging my feet like they normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was the, that was the Yarnable. February's was, there we go. Love is Love from Yarnable. And the contrast is actually a KFS yarn. Couldn't tell you a thing about colorway or anything else. I don't speak of that language.
No.
But it is a really sturdy yarn. If you know, like Regia, those kind of yarns, Croy, Patton's Croy, it's that kind of a yarn. It has a pretty high content of nylon, so it will wear good. It's definitely not as soft as the Yarnable yarn, but that's great. I would rather that I have that nice sturdy yarn for those heels and toes. So I have a 64 stitch cylinder, and that's what I used. I got one pair done and 1 pair to go.
Nice.
Yep.
My final FO is a biggin. And it's going to come in handy this weekend.
Yes.
I finished the baseball sweater.
Yay!
This is, let me find my banner.
Yeah, I was going to take that down. I couldn't find it.
There we are. It's Baseball by Caryn Lantz. And it was a very easy to read pattern, very easy to do. It was knit the front, knit the back, knit the arms, sew it all together, put on your neck. The neck was supposed to be a little bit taller, but just the way that the sweater fit before, it was supposed to be an inch tall. And I tried it on before I put the neck on, and the way that it fit, it was already quite high. And I only did like a 1/2 inch because I felt like if I did it any taller, it would start to flare out because it's such a small
shaping, short row shaping in the back, or no?
No. Nope. I don't remember any. No, it was just taper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't read ahead in patterns, because who would, right? When you're making a garment. I did not realize this little detail was present on the sleeves. I couldn't see it in the pictures, or I don't remember seeing it. I don't know, but it kind of caught me by surprise, but I love it. It's a beautiful detail. So I did take some pictures in it.
It kind of looks like chain links.
It does. Yeah. And I actually, there were other projects on Ravelry, people who had done this sweater who did like Celtic braids up this, and it was so beautiful, but it was more work than I was willing to do. But it was so easy to knit because it's flat and it's just back and forth, and it's just reductions on the side. It is a free pattern. I will say there were 2 errors in the pattern that I found for my size. The first error was in, I'm trying to think. I believe it was in the front. As you're decreasing, there's a place where it says decrease until you have so many stitches. And for my size, it was supposed to be 46 stitches, and they had it labeled as 11 stitches. That's a huge difference.
Big difference. Yeah.
So there was definitely there, but luckily somebody had mentioned it on their project page, so I was able to find it. The other error was in the cuffs on the sleeves. So it says to cast on 45 stitches. But then you do a knit 1x1 rib, but at the end you do 2 knits. So you do knit one purl, all the way around, but at the end you do 2 knits. Well, you can't do that with 45 stitches. You have to have an even number of stitches. So what I did is I just cast on an extra, and then at the end, I just basically knit 2 together, like cast it off. And it worked fine. The one thing I will say about the way that this is done, especially the raglan sleeve portions here. Oh, that's blowing out. The raglan portions here, the way that the decreases are done with this little selvage edge, it makes it super, super easy to mattress stitch it together. I am a terrible seamer. I don't like to seam stuff. I don't like to, but just the way that these selvage edges are done, it makes that very seamless. The seam on the arm came out great. You can see my decreases there, but you can't even tell. I mean, I would not know that this was not knit in the round.
Yeah.
Even the ribbing, there's a selvage edge on it so that the ribbing stays consistent. You have your knits, and then you've got that purl in between. Just absolutely incredible the way that those selvage edges are. I mean, I'm a terrible seamer, and it came out beautiful.
Yeah.
So I do recommend the pattern. I do recommend checking out other people's, especially like I put the errors for my size in my project page, but if you are a different size, definitely recommend checking out other people's project pages to make sure that there's no potential errors. Or if you struggle in a particular area, go check out and see if there's an error. But yeah, very nice pattern, very easy to knit. And I can't wait to wear it on Sunday.
Yeah.
And that's it for me for FOs. You got any others, Jules? Or
that's it for me.
That's it for you. Okay, on to whips. All right, what do you have for whips, Jules?
Well, I've got the one I'm working on, which is still the Riptide Slipover by Jennifer Shields Toland, JST Designs. And let's see here. All right. So front is there. Back is there. There's my little progress keeper where I was last time. So I've made some progress. I have, I think, about maybe an inch. It's supposed to go 8 inches from this underarm. And I think I've got about an inch left. So I'm going to do another inch, and then I'm going to try it on, see if it's where I like it. Then I'll do a little ribbing here, and then around the neck, and then she's done. Yay! I have really enjoyed this pattern. It's written really well. The only thing I did have to, it's not difficult. This stitching in here, detail, lacy stuff, it is not difficult, but you do have to pay attention because it meanders. And so when you're doing your yarn overs and your 2 togethers and all that stuff, you got to make sure you're doing it in the right sequence. Otherwise your meander takes a straight path before it meanders again.
Yeah.
And I have actually, ripped back. One time I ripped back probably 6 inches.
Oof.
I'm not ripped back.
You laddered back. Yeah.
Like 6 inches. And
Oof.
the management of those yarns until I got that back up on the needles. I did do a video, so I may throw that up on a little extra on YouTube.
That would be nice.
Of how because it was a little fiddly at first, but then once I figured this way of doing it out that worked for me, then it was nothing, because I did it again a little later and had to ladder back a couple inches again. And now that I knew how to do it, it was no big deal at all. But yeah, I could not recommend this pattern enough. I would absolutely knit it again. In fact, I'm doing it in, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm doing it in Nomad yarn. So it's bare yarn. And I may, when I do it again, I may dye that one, knit it up, and then do a dye.
Oh, and dye the garment instead of dyeing the yarn.
Yeah, I would like to try that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just want to see what the difference would be of doing a garment dye versus a yarn dye and then knit the garment.
Yeah. I think the only challenge with that would be you've got your knit stitches that are interlocked.
Yeah, and your pearls.
And making sure that the dye gets into those interlocked stitches and you don't end up with like
white space.
Yeah, because then if you wear the garment and wash it and those stitches move a little bit, then might end up with some spotting.
That's true.
I mean, it could be done. You may just have to oversaturate your dye pot, so you're not going to exhaust the dye bath in order to make sure that you get all those little bits.
Yeah. And
maybe manipulate the garment a little bit to make sure that it gets into all the bits.
Yep. So I'm extremely happy with that. The make along for it, knit along for it with Knits and Pieces goes to the end of the month. So far I'm doing okay.
You're on great track. You're going to get it done, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. I would love to finish it this weekend. I really am not that far off from being able to do that. But yeah, I have another project, another whip that also needs to be done really quickly.
It's so tough. I literally have to write it down in my day planner. Like I'm working on this day and this day. Yeah. And I don't stick to that hard and fast, but for the most part,
it's
I'm like
roadmap of what you'd like to be able to do.
Yeah. Like if it's a dishcloth day and I'm just not into the dishcloth, I'll pick up something else. But if I kind of have that as a goal for that day, it helps me to say, no, I can't look at the other shiny thing. I need, this is what my intention is. So this is what I'm going to stick to until it's done.
Yep. Oh, and I forgot to say, this is a DK weight yarn. And I am knitting it on the suggested needles. I did get gauge with the suggested needles, which are size, oh my goodness, need my magnifying glass, size 5. Which I don't know the millimeters right off the top of my head on that. 3.75, I think. So Chowgu, red lace, interchangeable.
And The yarn is
The Nomad,
Nomad.
Marshmallow DK Select. Love, love, love. There you go.
Yeah, for sure. All right.
Your turn.
My first whip is it's housed in my Harry Potter bag.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. I don't even remember where I got this. Oh, this is a yarn to die for. This is a yarn to die for by Robin. I totally forgot this was her bag. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I totally forgot this was her bag. There we go. You know what? I didn't buy this from her after we knew her.
You bought it before?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I got this at a craft show that I did the LuLaRoe. I did a show and I bought this. No, I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm totally lying. I have another Harry Potter bag that I bought at that show. I did buy this from her. I'm totally lying. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. Yeah, this part-timers is getting to me. So in that bag is my Dune Infinity Scarf. Now, if you look up Dune Infinity Scarf on Ravelry, you will not find this scarf. This scarf is not on Ravelry. Sure. There's another scarf called Dune Infinity Scarf, but it's not the one by Kendra. Kendra Millis is the owner of Maine Fiber Workshop, and I get my monthly breed study fiber from her. And in our BFL box, which I can't remember which month it was, but we got this beautiful BFL fiber, which I spun one natural and the other one I dyed. And this is the one that I dyed. This was the color. I have
pretty.
A ton of blue, like navy and blue garments, like in my wardrobe, but I don't have any accessories, any hand knit accessories. So I thought I would dye myself some blue. It's not as blue as I wanted it to be, but I didn't want to saturate it anymore because I wanted, it's a BFL humbug blend. So it's dark and light. And I wanted that to show through in the knitting. So here is what I've gotten done so far.
Oh, that's so pretty.
I love it. So the purple yarn is just waste yarn. Yeah, like a provisional. She offered a different one in the pattern, but she said it's a little fiddly to pick up your stitches afterwards. So I decided just to take this waste yarn. I knit like 4 rows and then put on the blue. So all I have to do is pick up and pull out the waste yarn. I think it'll be easier. I don't know.
You'll have to try your tubing next time.
My tubing? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Use my what do they call
it? Tubing?
Try it on tubing. Yeah, barber cord. There we go. But it is a lovely pattern. It's very easy to remember. She offers a couple of different options so that you can avoid this curling on the end. But I kind of dig the curling. I kind of think it's going to be pretty when you get it all in a circle and it'll kind of curl up and hug you. So I just went with the way that the pattern is written, and it is so pretty. It's coming out so nice. It's knit on, it's a worsted weight spun yarn. I'm knitting it on US 4, so it's a nice dense knit. It's got these beautiful little eyelets in it. I can't wait till it's done. I'm basically going to just knit until the ball is gone. I think in her pattern it said you need 250 yards, and my spin only came out to 180. So I'm just going to knit until it's gone. Leave myself a good long tail to do my grafting, and however long it is how long it is. If it ends up being a little closer infinity scarf, so be it. But I'm so excited. This was not in the plans. It was, but it wasn't. I wanted to knit it out of this fiber, but I hadn't planned on, it wasn't in my queue to do, and I just decided I need to do it. So there it is.
It jumped the line.
Yes, it did. No butsies unless you're beautiful BFL hand-dyed fiber.
And all bets are off. You can jump anytime.
Yes.
All right.
Any other whips for you?
Yes. The sock cranking, I gave the little sneak peek there. So that is another whip. I am doing this one for my grandson. He chose the yarn, which was a, did I have the, well, I had the yarn label here, but anyway, there's, it's Desert Vista Dye Works. That's their website. Yeah, I didn't bring it over. So I will have to put in the show notes what the colorway is. I do not remember. Desert Vista Dye Works does amazing self-striping yarn.
Yeah, that's so
beautiful. Pretty. Absolutely beautiful. And so, yeah, I cranked this tube on the CSM. This one, I did tighten the tension just a little bit. And it's a firmer fabric. This is more like what it is when I hand knit it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say my CSM was not all that happy with that tension. There was occasionally times when it seemed to be a little bit stiff.
Was it cranky?
It was cranky.
It was cranky at that gauge.
Yeah. So I don't know. I may have to back it off just a hair. Of course, for the contrasting yarn color, what does he choose? Black. And this one, I don't even know what it is. It was just a,
you're gonna need one of these.
Yeah. I have my Stella light too. If I have the Stella light right over me, it's not so bad. And I'll put a towel on my lap so that I have that white background. That does definitely help. So yeah, I'm trying to work on those. This is what I did with the other tube. I put the cuff on, I knit the cuff on, and then I went and did my separating for all the others, and then just came back and did the rest of the first sock. So that way I know right now where the top of the tube is, and then I can separate once I've got this cuff done. So he wants them as shorties, which is a good thing.
He's got big feet.
Yep. So I've marked here where this is the distance from where the heel would start to where he would like the top of his sock to be. That was just to give me the measurement so that now I know this is how much of a cuff I think I'm probably going to knit. Because he wanted to make sure, good night, sorry. He wanted to make sure that the socks wouldn't be sliding down. He wanted to make sure they were going to be snug. I did have him just put his foot in the tube to make sure it wasn't going to be too snug because he's got a little bit bigger feet than me. And if these are snug the way I like them on my feet of being a little bit smaller, I didn't want them to be too snug on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's going to work. And I am tickled that I am going to be able to do shorties, and I mean, I might be able to get 3 pairs of shorties out of this one too.
Yeah, I bet you could.
Yeah. Jackson kind of liked the yarn too. I don't know that there will be enough. He needs a tall sock because of his braces. So I don't know that there will be enough left to get him a pair of socks unless I do a considerably longer ribbed cuff, which certainly can do. But yeah, so
you could crank some plain black
and just
and graft it on and just give him a longer leg.
Yeah. I think because I had cranked him a long pair of socks before, but the tension was too loose. They didn't stay up on him well. So I've asked him to bring that back to me. I'm going to rip it all out I'm going to
Recrank it?
Yep. Recrank
Nice.
it. Yes. And
Nice.
we'll fix those. I think if I have a bit more of a ribbed cuff for him, that will definitely work better.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe go down a needle on the cuff so the cuff is even.
Yes, I probably should have done that on Ryan's actually. So once I have this cuff knit, I'm going to have him try them on and just stick his foot down in there and see if that cuff is going to snug it up enough for what he wants. And if not, I'll just take it out and I'll go down needle size, do the cuff.
Yep.
Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to just cranking out tubes. I fussed over using the CSM for over a year now anyway. I struggled with doing the heel and everything on the machine. That's my original intention in getting the machine, was just to crank tubes anyway, to use up some of my fingering yarn. I'm not going to worry about it. If I want to play with making an entire sock on the machine, so be it. But my intention and what I wanted to do was take a tube and make socks.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going with.
I feel like you've already made more socks than you did when you were doing the whole thing.
Absolutely. To me, it's very fiddly. And since I like to knit socks anyway, I would rather have it be not fiddly, and I'll just do the heels, toes, and cuffs.
Yeah. I don't mind. I wouldn't mind doing just heels, toes, and cuffs. It's all that stocking it in the round that, is boring.
I want to do the meatier stuff and just let the machine do that boring stocking it.
Yep. All right. Next. So I actually have two more. The next thing that I'm going to be doing this month is March. So I did this last year, and now my phone is going off. There we go. I did this last year and I'm doing it again this year. March Mendness.
Oh, yes.
So I have a basket full of socks I need to mend. A few are like little tiny. I'm rough on socks, and I've had them forever. So this one just has a little tiny blowout, and then I have ones that are like major catastrophes. And then I have a few that I pulled out of my drawer. I literally just washed all of my hand knit socks. And I have a few that are just like this one. It's just getting a little bit.
A little thin?
No, not that one. It must be its twin. Yeah, this one, it just has this little tiny spot right here that's getting a little thin. I don't know if it's blowing out terribly.
There you go.
But it's just a little thin in that spot right there. And rather than wait until it blows out, now is the time to just put a little patch on it. So I have probably 7 pairs of socks here that need to be mended. And then these are not hand knit. These are store-bought, but they're one of my favorite gloves to wear. And one of the fingers has a wee hole in it. Right there.
Yep.
Just a little threadbare on the thumb.
Yep.
And this one is getting close too. So those are going to have a little mend. So that's going to be my TV stuff. Just sitting and doing some reinforcing of weak socks and mending of other socks.
Yeah.
That'll probably be the bulk of my March. And then I have one other. Do you have more whips?
I don't believe so. I think that is it. I've got the Advent blanket, but it didn't get any love. So
no love.
No love.
I do still have the Seaglass, which is on timeout. and Kayla's Tricerasocks, which is on timeout until I find more yarn for that. So other than those, I cast on a new shiny.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. And I've gone gangbusters on it. This is the Sunset Diamonds.
Oh, yes, yes.
This is the crocheted with Expression Fiber Arts alpaca silk lace yarn, and I love it. It is so drapey. It is so soft. I've already got the first section done. So you actually hold the yarn double. So this was the first color, and this was June Pearl. So you hold it double for the first section, and then you snip one thread and you add your next color.
So you're marling them in.
Yes. And then after you get down a ways, you will snip the June Pearl completely off and go strictly with Fool's Gold as this color.
Cool.
And then from there, I will marl in this is Abandon, kind of a grayish.
Got a little purple cast to it.
It does have a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Spiral Staircase.
Like that.
This is the only one that was not an oopsie. All the others are oopsie skeins. And then this one is Ebony. Now this one I can see where it's probably was the oopsie. There's a little bit, it's brown, but it's got kind of these little bits of, it almost looks like it was supposed to be black and broke.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's going to be so pretty on the edge of that shawl.
Yeah.
I found their shorts video of when they released this this pattern, and I commented on it. I finally cast it on, and I thanked them for offering the oopsie skeins, which made it a little more affordable. And I don't see anything wrong with oopsies. Like, I love that it's a little cheaper and that they're equally gorgeous colors as the original. I don't mind the oopsie at all. Thank you. So this is knit on, there's two hooks that it's knit on. It's knit on a 2mm for like the regular, just the double crochet section. And then the lacy section, you go up in hook size to a 2.75mm. I had neither. All of my hooks are like, I guess it's a USB and a USC. And my smallest hook in my stash was an F. Because I usually always crocheted with like red heart yarn. Yeah. So I had to borrow from my daughter. She actually had a 2.0. And then I went on Heavenly Yarn's website. Oh dear. Here I am getting all behind on my.
Oh, I didn't pay attention.
There is that's Wardah. Wardah is the designer of Sunset Diamond. So I went to Heavenly Yarns and I ordered the USB and USC. However, I think I got it in from Knit. I want to say it's Knit Picks. I don't remember. Oh, please. Oh, of course I can't find it. Oh, here's the package. It's Knitter's Pride. So their USB is actually 2.25.
Oh.
Not 2. I don't know why, but so I ended up moving my camera. I ended up letting Kayla take the 2.25 and I'm keeping this one just to finish this project because I don't want to change boats in midstream and make it a mess. So that's that. So little plug for Heavenly Yarns in Belfast, Maine. Thank you for offering pickup. It's right on the route home for my husband. So little too convenient, though, I gotta say. But it was nice to need the needles and not have to wait for the Amazon truck.
Right. Yep.
All right. And that's it for my whips. Shall we talk about future projects?
Sure.
All right. So what do you have for future projects planned, Julie?
Well, the 24 birds along.
Yeah.
That's my future. I've shared a couple of things in the past episodes, but that's the only thing that has been now added to the mix. And that one that's going to jump the line because it's
yeah.
Up.
It's a pretty thing.
Yeah, I had the banner before, but it's Helen Stewart. It's on Ravelry. If you hop on there and get that now, you can get the preparation page, I guess I'll call it, where it gives you all the details and everything. And then I believe it's on the 21st. The first clue will be released for that. So that's coming up.
I still have Flashpoint by Knitting Apprentice. It is a brioche hat that I want to knit from some hand spun. But that is being put a little bit on the back burner for me because I'm going to do the split mittens by Winwick Mum. When I finished the sweater and showed the grandkids, they loved it. And I have a ton of yarn left over from that. The yarn, I forgot to mention, the yarn is Cascade 220 in the colorway Concord Grape and Goldenrod. It's worsted weight, and the kids love the colors. And I asked them if they wanted hats made out of it, and they said they already had a Golden Bucks hat, so they wanted fingerless mitts instead. Well, Nana doesn't think fingerless mitts on tiny little hands is a good idea because their fingers are going to get cold. So the split mitts is a pattern that Julie made. Here's her mittens. And I tried them on and they are lovely. You just flick your fingers out of the flap there. And I even saw on the pattern page, you can flick your thumb too. So you can actually stick your whole hand right out there. So if they need to use their phone or whatever. So the pattern calls for bulky weight, but I'm going to hold the worsted double to get a bulky weight equivalent. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the hand part of the glove or the mitten in the purple and do the flap in the gold.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll have their purple and gold mitts.
Yep.
So that is going to happen for them, hopefully before wrestling season is over, but no guarantees. That is all I have for future knits. What else do you have for future knits, Jules? Anything?
That's it. That's enough.
That's it. Okay. I'm not going to do the banner for spinning because I've not done any.
Either.
I do still have the Maine Fiber Workshop monthly breed study that I'm working on. I'm about halfway through my spin of the Punta Arenas, and then the next box for February I still have to spin, and the March box is coming here in a couple of days. So I do have to get to spinning. Good thing camping is right around the corner. What about miscellaneous makes, Jules? Let's do that. You have some miscellaneous makes.
I have just one, actually. And it was gifted.
One of them was to me.
Yeah. So my granddaughter Kinsley came over last weekend and had a sleepover, and she wanted to do some crafty things. So I had seen different places. Basically, when I watched Beth McDonald Stone's last episode, or not latest episode, but the episode before, she showed that she had gotten an advent from a maker that did something similar with a real fancy little fob and stitch markers attached kind of thing. And I had seen different iterations of it around too. And I thought, you know what? I have a lot of fabric scraps. I have a lot of ribbon scraps, a lot of yarn scraps, and I have all the paraphernalia to put those together. And I thought it would be something that she could like. And she loved it because she got to pick out all of the different things to attach to this fob. And she picked out a couple of stitch markers to attach on it too. So it ended up to be really fun. And I made one up for Judith too.
I love it. They're actually really great to put on project bags on the zipper, because I always have a hard time finding the zipper.
Yeah, grabbing that zipper.
Just, it's nice and big, and you can just rip your zipper open, and I do like it. I was going to put it on my keys, but my keys get a workout, and I don't want to fuck it up.
Yep. Yep.
I have no miscellaneous makes.
No. Yep.
None.
I will have very shortly, I'll do another update on my orchids, because the chocolate orchid has buds galore. And so it won't be too long before those pop open. And so when those do, I will share those and update on those.
All right. I lost one orchid. I had to let it go. It lost all its leaves. And when I dug it out to see if it had any viable roots, it only had one root that was rotted towards the bulb. So it really wasn't a viable root. It was gone. So she went to the Rainbow Bridge, but the other one is doing great. I did the soak watering recently, and nice bright green new roots coming out.
Nice.
She looks great. The one new leaf that she's got is getting bigger and bigger and taller, and it's like sticking straight up. It's like,
nice.
Hi, I feel good.
Yep.
And I had a poinsettia that I put on the mantle and forgot about, and I didn't water it for like weeks. I put it in the window and I water it with the rest of with my hibiscus and all the other things, and it's got leaves coming on it.
Oh my gosh.
All of the stalks that were sticking up are completely dead.
Yep.
But down towards the bottom, it's got new growth.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's actually, I think that's how when they take the orchids to get them red again, they have to be like put through an extreme. No light, cold, dark, and no water. They're basically tortured.
Well, it's a hibernation, right? Like my hydrangea.
Mm-hmm.
Hydrangea, the big puff purple plant that I have. Yeah, my hydrangea completely dies. Like winter comes and it goes right down to the ground, and it comes back the next year bigger and better than ever.
I know. I don't know how they do that.
It's crazy. So maybe we'll have a viable poinsettia come Christmas. We'll see.
Maybe.
All right. And now we'll go on to Julie's show, Stash Enhancements.
Stash Enhancements. Yes, Julie was not a good girl this time. Last episode, I guess I had withdrawals or something, and I just went off wagon big time.
She's like, I'm going to have something to show this week, darn it.
So I'll show the smaller ones first. Well, actually, one of them it's yarn adjacent. Knitting adjacent, I guess I'll call it. Judith uses these planners, and so she told me about them. I can't remember. They're from Freedom Mastery, but I don't remember what you actually called them.
Law of Attraction Journal.
Yes, Law of Attraction. There we go.
Yeah.
I need to get into a planner. I like GoodNotes, which I have on my phone, but it does not have a layout that's really working that I like in there. If it did have a layout that was like this in digital form, I probably would be all set, but it doesn't. So I got one of these, have not started it yet, but I'm looking forward to just putting things down and having somewhat of a plan so that when I want to do something, I can look and say, okay, but I had intended to do this. So let's move things around a little bit. Let's prioritize and figure out where we want things. So looking forward to using that. Let's see. Also with doing the crank socks, if I am knitting on a sock and I need to pick up for another tube or something, I did not have a spare pair. I'm doing these on 1.5, so US 1.5 ChiaoGoo needle tips, and I only had one of those size 1.5s, and that was actually in those are the 3-inch tips out of my ChiaoGoo set, my little set. So I wanted, they're okay. I can knit with that 3-inch tip length, but I prefer a 4 or 5-inch tip length. It just gives me a little bit more to hang on to, and
Yeah,
it's not quite so fiddly. I have big hands.
because you do magic loop, right?
Loop. Yeah. The 9-inch, the 9-inch circular, it hurts my hands. I'm not comfortable with it.
It did for me. I had to change the way that I do it. So I now, instead of picking, I throw. I flick with the 9-inch, and it tends to work better. But if it's really fine gauge, really fine, really fine knitting gauge like socks, sometimes it does. I have to switch to another project to give this hand a rest and go back to the picking. I think it's because I don't weave my yarn between my fingers or wrap it around a finger or Me neither.
tension. And so I think it's that squeezing, because it's down in here that it bothers.
Yes, I tension here.
Yep. So
when I'm
why they don't
picking,
work.
I tension against the needle that I'm like against my work.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm flicking, I tension here.
Yeah.
And that's what hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that holding my yarn like that to tension.
Yep.
Yep.
So, and I also got, I only had one, I have a 37-inch for the mini cable, and I have a 137-inch on the small size cable. I prefer the small size cable when I'm doing the magic loop. I thought I would prefer the mini, but it's a little bit too floppy on the mini size doing magic loop. So I got an extra of these because I prefer that. So that's that. So I've also, Signature Needle Arts is going out of business. And I shared in a previous episode at some point that I got a couple of their needle tips. I wanted to try their stiletto tips. The Crazy Sock Lady has mentioned that she thinks they're very similar to the ChiaoGoo needle tips, being a very sharp point. And she uses the straights for her Coziest Memory little miter square blanket when she's doing those little miter squares. And I don't have much in the way of straight needles. I have a little jar up there. And I only have a few of the longer bamboo needles and a couple of the smaller size, like 3 and 6 or something like that. In
these.
Yeah, in that, I think it's like a 9-inch length or something like that, 9, 10, somewhere in there. These are 7-inch, and I got these in a size 8. There's very limited choice into what sizes they have left at this point.
I'll bet.
But I do use an 8 when I'm holding the fingering double with the blankets. So I figured if I do any of these little square blankets or any little square projects like dishcloths or whatever, this would be a good size for that. So I snagged me a pair of those.
Nice. Yeah, they'll definitely be handy with dishcloths. I use a long, like 12 or 13 inch for my dishcloths, and
You got a lot of needle hanging out there.
yeah, you can't have any arms on your chairs with those suckers.
Yep. And then the really, really naughty girl. Of course, I've mentioned how much I love Nomad Yarn. Well, Nomad Yarn also has sales fairly frequently.
Yes, they do.
And they are so hard to resist.
Yes, they are.
And I have I've decided that anytime something calls for mohair silk, I'm not a fan of the mohair. I'm just not. It's okay and I can wear it. I just don't like it. I prefer the Surrey silk.
Yep.
And they have a beautiful base called Pluma. And this is 75% baby Surrey alpaca, 25% mulberry silk. They come in 50 gram skeins, and it is 459 yards on those 50 grams. So I went and got a whole stinking 10 pack.
Because it's a better deal.
It's such a deal. Oh my gosh. I think the sale is still on, and there are a lot of their great bases included in the sale. So I would absolutely suggest checking them out. Of course, as I throw all of these skeins right down on the floor. I also got this. I have not had this base before. This is a fingering. This is their Snowdrift. That's their fingering. It is, I don't know if oh yeah, maybe you can get a glimpse of the twist and everything there.
Yeah.
It's nice. This one is a 75-25 woolen nylon. It's superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. 100 grams is 437 yards. It is a 4-ply, so it should be a great sock yarn with that higher nylon content.
And the high twist.
And the high twist, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, so I got a 10 pack of that as well. Got to justify the shipping, you know?
Right.
But I
spent 75 to save 13. It makes sense.
Their shipping is a little pricey, I will say, but you know, a 10 pack of yarn is not light.
Right.
Weight to it.
But they have a good free ship. Like, I mean, if you're going to buy a boatload of yarn, you know, buy a boatload and save the shipping.
Exactly. Yep.
They do have a good free, you know, buy so much and get free shipping option.
Yeah. Yep. A lot of people do that. And of course, I'm not even buying it wholesale.
Right.
I'm buying it when they have a sale, but they do wholesale as well. So, you know, if there's any dyers out there, I would give their bases a try. I've tried 2 different fingering bases now, 2 different DK bases, and now they're Surrey silk. So
I've done their mohair silk, and their mohair silk is quite nice too, and very easy to dye.
Yep. Another advantage with them, if you are a dyer, is that they have just folded hanks now. So you don't have to get the skein. You can get it in a flat hank. So you don't have to mess around with it being skeined and unskeining it and going from there. You can just get it in a flat folded hank.
Yeah.
So.
And I have, you know, there are so many amazing, beautiful color work yoke sweaters out there that I would love to try, but like the sweater quantity of yarn. It can get expensive when you get, you know, the indie dyed yarn in a sweater's quantity.
Yeah.
So I've kind of made the decision, if I'm going to do a color yoke sweater, I'm going to stash dive and find stuff that I have in my stash. And then I'm going to buy undyed like that and just throw it in a kettle and kettle dye it myself in a color that I think is going to look good, and do it that way, because it's so much cheaper if all you're going to need is a solid color.
Solids or tonals. I mean, pretty
Yeah.
much you can look up the YouTube videos and pretty much anybody can do solids or tonals.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to take anything away from indie dyers because they still
Absolutely.
have expertise for capturing the color.
Yes.
You know, they're mixing dye colors and everything to get all those nuances and colors.
Yeah. And I'll absolutely still go to indie dyers for those beautiful, colorful, you know, amazing skeins.
Yeah.
But if I'm just looking for a solid or tonal for the body of a sweater, you know,
something really basic.
Yeah. I'm at a point where I don't want to spend $30, $40 for a skein of brown yarn, you know, or gray yarn.
Yeah.
When I can get it at not cost, but, you know, a little over cost, and dye it myself, just a plain old solid color.
Yeah. I'm finding that I really love just a bare yarn too.
Yeah.
Projects.
Yeah.
No, for garments in particular, that vest, it's gonna go with anything. It's a totally neutral color that will go with anything.
Yeah.
And if I want a little color in a project, hey, there's a great neutral yarn. I can get a sweater's quantity fairly reasonable and just add my special yarns to get color work or that color detail in a project. So
yep. I'll leave the beautiful color work to the indie dyers, and I'll still support them, but the plain yarn is something I can mess up and do myself.
You know, and there's always going to be a color out there that just absolutely sings to my heart, and I'll have to have it.
Yep. Well, I have no stash enhancements other than the needles, which I can't find one of, but this one's Kayla's. That's all I got was 2 crochet hooks. Mm-hmm. That was it. Yep. I was a good girl.
I picked up a couple of small things. If you've heard of Temu, I was surprised they actually had some knitting type things. I got stitch bulb markers.
Nice.
How many was in there? Oh, I don't remember now. 100 pieces.
The staple of any knitter.
Yeah, and I think they were like $1.20 or something for 100 stitch bulb. I don't know. You know, I haven't really tried them. I don't know if they're the same quality as what I've been using. But hey, there's times when you just need a bunch of them, and they'll work for a while at the very least. And
if you're going to lose them, why not pay a penny a piece or less?
Yep. I also got one of these little like yarn guide rings.
Oh yeah.
It's an adjustable yarn guide ring. I'm sure I don't believe it said it was sterling silver or anything like that. It's just, you know, jeweler's metal kind of stuff, but it is adjustable. It's got a split all the way around, so you can adjust it to what size you need. I got a silver and I got you a gold. They came in a 2-pack.
Ooh.
And I mean, it was like $2 or something. So, couple of little yarny goodies.
Yeah. Awesome. Anything else?
Oh my gosh, I think that's it. And that better beat it for me for a while.
All right. Well, on to reviews and recommendations. What do you have for reviews and recommendations, Jules?
I have a couple of YouTube podcasts that I've picked up on. One is a brand new couple of girls that are doing ladies. They're not girls, they're ladies.
Young ladies. We're all young ladies.
They've just started doing their podcasting. I believe they've been working at getting there and doing it for a while, but they finally have their first episode out. And one of them, Corinna, it's here, let me get the banner. It's knitting up north with Jen and Corinna. And Corinna, I've been following her on Instagram for a while now. When I first started the shop years ago, she started following me fairly early on. Don't know how in the world she even found me. And then she got that first year that I did the stitch marker advent. She got one of the stitch marker advents from me. And I've just followed her since then. So I was really tickled to find out that she was doing a YouTube podcast now. And with her friend Jen, I thought that first episode was really well done. I think they're going to do just fine. So I highly recommend them. And the other one is actually one that Kay from Crazy Sock Lady mentioned that she watches, Knit All the Yarn podcast. It's her name or whatever on Instagram is 72 Stitches. And she has the podcast is called Knit All the Yarn podcast, if you look it up on YouTube. And she just is fun to watch. I just think she's got some, neat information, some neat ideas. She does some neat projects, and she's just very down to earth and fun to watch. So I would recommend that one as well.
Cool. I will admit I have been a bit away from watching knitting podcasts and things because I'm resisting the temptation of all the things. Yeah. But the podcaster who started it all for me, Amber from Yarn Hoarder Podcast, she is no longer on YouTube, but she does have a Patreon channel. So it's like, I think her pledge to support, you can either choose $1 or $2 or whatever. And it's basically, it's per video, but it's only one video a month. So you're guaranteed it's only like $1 or $2 a month, right? And 50% of all the proceeds that she gets from her Patreon, she gives to a charity. Each month that charity changes. So I just thought that was a really nice, kind way to pay forward people supporting her channel. So you, when you support her, you get access to the link to watch the video. And it's been a long time. I had to catch up. I caught up on her December, January, and February videos. And I just absolutely adore Amber. She is so fun. She's so real. She just sits in front of the camera and talks to you. She talks to you like, you're a friend. And she's very, very cool. I fangirled her my first Rhinebeck, crazy. And I still, if I saw her again, I'd fangirl her again. I think she is just so much fun. So yeah, I caught up on her. And then the only other recommendation that I have is Michael, while he was ill, became quite the Netflix junkie. And he fell into this series called Resident Alien, and it stars Alan Tudyk. And Alan Tudyk was Wash on Firefly, and he is absolutely hilarious. I adore him, and this series, I've only watched a few episodes with him and Kayla from the current season. I have to go back and watch season 1 and 2 because he's so funny. Like every word that comes out of his mouth is hilarious. And it's the basic, I won't give anything away, but it's the basic plot is he's an alien from another planet and he's on Earth, and he plays the alien so fun. So that is my one and only recommendation because I live in a hole in the ground.
Yeah, I heard somebody mention that Resident Alien. I don't remember who it was on one of the podcasts. They were watching it. I
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
do they mean Resident Evil? But no, there's
Resident Alien, but he's like not a resident alien like you'd think, someone from another country that comes and resides in the United States, they're considered resident alien. No, he's actually a resident alien. Like
True
an
alien.
actual alien. But it's like he's hilarious, but it's not just him. Like the whole show, the other people on the cast are hilarious. The writers are brilliant. You literally belly laugh the entire episode. It is so funny. So yeah, I will definitely be catching up on that this weekend.
I may have to check it out.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Who couldn't use a good laugh?
Yeah, exactly. Like I've been watching a lot of true crime drama kind of stuff, and I just needed a breath, right?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
This was it. It's so fun to watch. Yeah. That and Mario Kart 8. I've been Mario Kart 8 with Kayla, like
gaming or movie?
Gaming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like we're on a quest to get 3 stars in every single cup race, including the expansion pack. So for those Mario Karters out there, you know how the daunting task that is.
I have to say, I go in and out of spells of getting hooked back into the Family Farm Adventures game.
Oh, yeah.
That is the one game that totally has me hooked.
Yeah.
And I can get sucked into it, time warp right into that thing, and I have to just pull myself away and take a complete hiatus from it.
Yep.
I have to put months between me getting on that thing because I can pass a whole weekend playing that thing and it's not right.
Yep. I have a bunch of Delicious Emily or Diner Dash kind of games. I love a good time management game. There's just something about like you've got a goal and you've got to move that. I'm a big time management person.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the same with the time management games. I literally can frit away an entire day in front of the iPad playing games if I'm not careful.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Have we said all the things?
I think so.
All right.
Nothing else.
Well, if we would like to find you on social media, Julie, where can we find you?
Best place is Instagram. I'm at jules.makes or Ravelry. They're hit or miss as Jules Larrabee.
And I am Nana's House _15 on Instagram and Nana's House 15 on Ravelry. So I guess that's it. Yeah. So until next time, stay nutty
and keep
knitting. Bye.